Hey there, welcome to the 311 Griffin YouTube channel. I promise you, the AH-64 is not trying to kill you. It's not trying to kill me. It's trying its best to stay alive. And I know that most of the people that are saying things, it's all in jest. They're just joking about how difficult the Apache is to fly. And then the other people that are really good at flying helicopters are talking about how easy it is to fly and things like that. Um, I just thought it might be fun to go into the sim and mess around and just see what I could make the helicopter do. I've done that a few different times now, and really, the helicopter, in my opinion, is not that difficult to fly. I did want to talk about this, but I'm not bragging about my piloting skills. I am a terrible pilot. I don't know how to fly in real life. I don't know what you're really supposed to do in real life, and I don't know how close these things are to real life. But and even in the sim, I don't consider myself a good pilot, and I can barely make this helicopter do what I want it to do if I'm not just flying in a more or less straight line. I can fly it pretty well when I'm up to speed, but it's really, I want to say difficult or challenging. It's really challenging to make a helicopter do exactly what you want it to do and be exactly where you want it in space and time. And I can't do that. So I'm not trying to brag about my skills. I just wanted to play around with it, and kind of show like it wants to stay alive and it doesn't want to kill you either. Helicopters, it makes it very obvious if you're not doing everything just right. So I can fly around in a Hornet not having any idea what I'm doing, and because I have to have a certain airspeed just to fly, as long as I am not stalling the aircraft out, nobody's going to know that I'm not doing coordinated turns really. you know um, Same thing is really true with any fixed wing aircraft that I can fly in the sim. You'll look a little funny in a warbird if you're like whipping it around incorrectly and you're not making coordinated turns, but it's not going to be that obvious. In a helicopter, like, it's all over the place, and you're not in a fixed wing. You don't have to build up that speed. You're sitting there trying to hover and you're all over the place because every little move you make with either of your hands or your feet is making other things react in ways that you didn't want them to react in. But even when you understand that, even once you get why is the helicopter trying to spin around whenever I lift off the ground, and whenever I put rudder inputs or anti-torque inputs, why is it trying to roll on me? And when I roll, why is it trying to spin? And why is it losing altitude whenever I'm using a lot of anti-torque, or whenever I am using a lot of cyclic, sorry. I say cyclic. I've always said cyclic, but everybody's told me it's cyclic. I apologize. But anyway, whenever you do these inputs, why is the helicopter doing other things that you didn't command? Well, it's because you did command them. It's just that there's a relationship there between all of the different controls. That's all. So in the sim, you can do a lot of stuff with this helicopter. And yes, if you just act stupid with it, you're going to get some low RPM and some high RPM, and you're going to exceed some of your engine limits and things like that. And I've even done a number of things. I've crashed the thing a few times, but it's only when I'm doing something just really, really stupid. And I've done a lot of stupid stuff in it, and even slamming it into the ground at way harder than I meant to slam it into the ground. And the thing's pretty resilient, and it wants to fly. So again, I'm not saying this to brag, and none of this video is intended to be like, oh, look at me, because half the time, like, I am not in, 95% of the time, I am not in complete control of this beast. It's doing what I tell it to do. It's very obedient, which is what a man told me one time. I crashed a very expensive mill and just ran an end mill cutting tool into my fixture. Just boom, ran it right into it at high speed. And I was sitting there staring at it, and I was mumbling something about like how the computer did something wrong, and this machinist came up to me and he said computers are extremely obedient. They do exactly what you tell them to do. And he walked away, and he's absolutely right. He was telling me it was my fault. And if you crash the helicopter, and I'm not talking about like combat, but in the sim, if you crash the helicopter, you told it to crash. It's as simple as that. You instructed it to crash, and it did exactly what you asked it to do. And every time I make it crash, it's because I told it to crash. So just keep that in mind. And again, I know everybody's mostly joking, but if you're frustrated by the helicopter, don't worry. Like, just fly around the best you can. And I would suggest, I personally would recommend, you can do it the way you want, but I personally would recommend watching some videos on how those different controls are related to each other, and then jump in the sim and just do stupid stuff. In a single player, just put yourself in a helicopter in the mission, put some obstacles in there if you want, or go find some obstacles and just fly around and just do stupid stuff. And do it over and over and over and over and over again as you learn how much anti-torque to put in and how much cyclic to put in and what happens when you pull collective. You know, why is your helicopter spinning all of a sudden because you pulled collective? And then I would also recommend just to try to be as smooth as possible after you've done some stupid stuff for a bit. Try to be as smooth as possible with your control inputs, and especially with your collective. It doesn't take much. And if you're like me and you're using like a Thrustmaster Warthog HOTAS, that it's not extended, you know, this thing's got a very short throw. I'm using that for my collective. It takes barely any input on that to move it a lot. So if you just yank it halfway back, your helicopter's going to be spinning in circles, and it's going to take you a minute to get the anti-torque worked out. So just keep those things in mind. It's not that hard. It's hard. It's difficult. It's challenging. Your mistakes are very, 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 very obvious to everyone who's watching. But it's fun, and it's well worth it. And you will get to the point where you can at least feel like you're starting to tame the beast. That's where I'm at. I'm feeling like I'm starting to tame the beast. I'm not frustrated at all as I fly the Apache around, and that's where you want to be, because that's where you can learn faster, and you're not just hating life because you're crashing all the time. You'll get there. I promise. If I can do it, you can, because I'm a terrible, terrible pilot. But I feel like I can at least get the helicopter around and take it off without crashing into things and land it ish without, vortex ring stating into the pavement. So, I'm getting closer to putting it on the H. I still can't put it on the H, but I'm getting closer. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about it. It's all in fun, and enjoy the sim. This is a great module. I am so, so happy with the AH-64 early access module, and I'm looking forward to everything that they put in this baby. Over time, it is great. I'm having a lot of fun with it. So, highly recommend it, and just practice. So with that, happy flying, and peace out.